I'm Danielle, and welcome to this Enchanted House. Today, the question, can you have more than one aesthetic? So yeah, on my social media groups, I kind of keep seeing posts like this, it's like, and I'm like, you don't have to choose. So today we're going to talk about having more than one aesthetic and how you can incorporate those different aesthetics into your life and different methods of doing so. So yeah, you can totally have more than one aesthetic, first of all. So aesthetics, remember, are like a visual language or a visual philosophy or a visual expression of a philosophy. And as human beings, we're more than just one thing at a time. We have many interests, many values, and we express them in different ways. So having more than one aesthetic is completely natural. Not saying if you only have one aesthetic that you're weird or something, because but most people aren't going to fit neatly into just one aesthetic, and they're going to have different things from different aesthetics, and that's fine. I think kind of with this whole new aesthetic movement that, there's this tendency to say, oh, I'm grabbing this label and I'm going to live in this label and it's going to be me because I really relate to it. And that can totally be the truth, but you can also find this other label you really like and this other expression you really like, and it can feel really you too. And so, and for example, if you want to go to my video when I talk about what my aesthetic is, it turns out I have 4, and we're going to talk about I'm going to talk more about how I incorporate those and how they work together and how they work separately. And you can find different ways to do your different aesthetics, whether it's goth or cottagecore or steampunk or goblincore or your solar punk or or dark academia, any of these. So let's get started. So the first option is obviously fusions, and that's where you combine two aesthetics to make kind of a new aesthetic. So, for instance, academia has its dark side and its light side, and the dark side tends to have a little more like things you'd see in like gothic, like with the arches and darker colors. Steampunk famously is supposedly when goths discovered brown is the joke, but there is sort of these elements of gothic, but then these elements of science fiction and elements of Victoriana in general, and they all kind of come together to form a new aesthetic. Dark cottagecore is a thing, and I'm kind of trying to rock it today. This is a dark cottagecore look. It's hot, so I just wanted to wear a simple shirt, but I had this gorgeous necklace from Autumn Moon, and I was like, yeah, let's show it off today. So it's, it has elements of both, or it could be dark fairy core also. I mean, there's a lot of crossover with aesthetics, and a lot of them will fuse together really nicely. So, and like in my video, I talk about how those 4 aesthetics I have, I kind of combine into one thing I call goblincore, because at the end of the day, I really like things that are whimsical and magical, and I could probably cram a ton more aesthetics in there. I just narrowed it down to the 4 that I commonly use the most. Like fairycore was a strong contender in there also, and because I really do love things dealing with fae and fairies. So the first option is just you can do fusions of things, and you don't have to necessarily, you can be your academia, cottagecore, steampunk, which if you want. I am, after all. So the second option is you can delineate your aesthetics according to different areas of your life. So for instance, you might dress one way, decorate your home in another. Right now, this room is sort of a fusion of more dark aesthetics, but there's a lot of steampunk going on here, and we call it the Adventurers Club because there's also some of my husband is really into like sort of tiki adventure type things. So we've got the Nautilus back there, and we've got some tiki mugs and it's just all sorts of, it's like a mishmash of things. But this room is more dark. My living room, where you've seen me film videos before, is much more light, though even there's some elements of dark in there. So I guess it's really a fusion. But you can be more separate. You can have your dark gothic room and your academia study and your cottagecore kitchen, and they could all exist in the same house. Or you could do your whole house cottagecore, but dress goth. So there's different ways to do that. You can incorporate them in different areas of your life. The final method I kind of want to talk about is, seasonal. My aesthetic changes throughout the year. Like right now it's summer, so usually I am very cottagecore because cottagecore involves a lot of light, airy fabrics. Sun hats, the big straw hats are really, cottagecore, and so it's really easy. As we go into fall, you will see kind of them all come in because, cottagecore still works in the fall, but then I start to move into maybe more academia with more like browns and neutrals, and big heavy sweaters and plaids come into it. Halloween, I am full on my witchy self, and this blacks and celestial prints and witch hats. Winter will kind of stay, we'll see me stay in those kind of areas. So seasonally, you can change out your aesthetics too and match the season, because some aesthetics lend themselves to more seasons than others. So, yeah, you do not have to live in your little aesthetic box. Think of it more as, like I say, think of the aesthetics as spheres. They can kind of, these like big cloudy spheres, and they can kind of fuse into each other and cross over each other. And so, yeah, you do not have to have one particular aesthetic. Really, the only one aesthetic you will have is your personal aesthetic, and that can be made up of bunches of different aesthetics, bunches of different visual ways of expressing yourself and your philosophies and your interests. And so, yeah. So, what are your aesthetics, and what are ways you combine them and, highlight them in your life? I'd love to hear from you guys. So leave me comments below. If you like this video, please give it a like. Please check out some of my other videos. If you like what you see here, please subscribe so you can catch up with the latest and the greatest. I'd love to connect with you guys on social media. There's links to my Instagram, Facebook, Twitter below. I hope you guys have an enchanted day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!